Avengers Assemble! Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the Diamond Select Iron Man 3 Minimates. And this is the Tony Stark and Heartbreaker Armor figures. This is the second in the Toys R Us exclusive 2-packs of Iron Man 3 Minimates. And this is the set that I was most excited for because, for whatever reason, somewhere in the back of my head, I picked out 2 armors from Iron Man 3 that I knew I was going to absolutely love. And those 2 were the Igor, which I don't think we're getting in any way, shape, or form outside of a hot toy. And this one right here, the Heartbreaker Armor, one that I was very excited to pick up in plastic in any way, shape, or form. I actually had already picked up this armor in the micro mug format, but it was really hard to tell that it was the Heartbreaker, so nice to have at least a more movie-accurate version of it, even though it is still a bit stylized. But let's take a closer look at both of these figures and check out how they stack up. As with all the Iron Man 3 Minimates, both these figures come with their clear display stand with a single peg. I've already said enough about this. These are awesome. So glad they're included. Makes a huge difference in trying to display these figures. Definitely love Diamond Select for putting these in there. And we'll start off first with Tony Stark. This is another more simple Minimate, nothing too complex here. He's wearing that kind of mesh shirt that he was wearing towards the beginning of the movie. He has all the gunk on his face, the little microphone on the one side. He has a little Super Saiyan scouter over the other eye, but still a decent paint job on his head. It's the same one we kind of had with the 42, just with the extra stuff added on. He has his little hair piece with the ears sculpted in there, so it's a separate piece that can be removed. I like that you can see the arc reactor in his chest here through the shirt, which is a nice touch. The arms are pretty plain, simple little C-clip hands. The pants themselves are also pretty plain, no real detail to speak of on them, and then just black shoes. The cool thing is this other hand here, and I forget which side it's really supposed to go on. He actually has the little bandage wrapped around his hand, which is a nice touch. It would have been kind of cool if they put some red dots on his arm where he implanted the tracking chips for the 42, but that was probably asking a little too much. And you could probably do it with a red Sharpie if you were so inclined. But the real appeal of this figure is in the greatness that is Minimates. You can pull pieces off. So you can pull the hands off, pull the feet off. And then Tony comes with the pieces so you can reenact the suit up scene with the Mark 42. He has both boots and both gloves. That's really a cool touch and really can help recreate that neat scene, especially from the trailers where I was so pumped to see the Extremis armor work that way. Even though it really wasn't the Extremis armor, it was just the Mark 42, but, you know, from the comics, I could also think of it as the Extremis armor, and now I'm just going off into total geek rant. But if you're looking at these armor pieces, you may be thinking, these don't look quite like the ones that were on the 42. And that's because, for whatever reason, on these Toys R Us exclusive packs, for the most part, excluding the Heartbreaker, it seems like they went with a cheaper paint option, less metallics. If we bring in the Mark 42 that I got at the comic shop, we can see he is a brilliant, beautiful gold with the nice red metallic. I love the paint on this figure. And then looking at the boots and hands on Tony Stark here, you can see it's the same metallic red, but this very, very, very light, mustardy, plasticky yellow color. Now, I looked at the Iron Man Mark 42 from Toys R Us in package, and he actually is these colors. He's actually the cheapo, plasticky, mustardy color that I really don't care for. And that is a complete shame because they did such a great job with this version. I don't know why they made 2 different versions. It makes me so happy I picked up the comic book shop version of my Mark 42. Totally justifies paying like $2 extra for it, because it's such a better paint job. The plus side is, with the suit up Tony Stark, you can actually take all the pieces off the 42 from here and just stick them over here. Everything is the same, it all plugs together. I mean, you can put these parts on any character that's a Minimate for the most part. So that's not really a hurdle to get over, but it does kind of stink that they didn't keep the paint consistent. And next up, we have the Mark 17, the Heartbreaker Armor, the artillery level RT suit. And this was an armor that I was super hyped about. I thought for sure this was actually going to be the Mark 43, and we were going to see this at the end of the movie, or it was going to be something that was further back in the catalog that was more perfected than the 42 was, and that this was going to be the final battle armor. This is what Iron Man was going to suit up for. At the end, he was going to take out the Mandarin with this armor. It was going to be the badass armor of the movie. You've seen the movie, you know none of what I just said happens at all. However, this is a cool figure, and thank goodness they didn't put that cheapo paint on this one. He has a brilliant gold, great silver, great metallic red. He looks phenomenal. And I have to say, I was actually a little nervous about this figure because Diamond Select is pretty good at what they do. And when it comes to Marvel, they seem to put their A game towards it. But I was really worried the paint on this was going to get sloppy. There's a lot of different colors, a lot of overlapping colors. I really thought it was going to get sloppy, it was going to get blurred. It just wasn't going to look as good as it could. But I am pleasantly surprised to see that everything looks very crisp, very clean, very well done on this armor. And that thrills me. I said in a previous review that my two favorite things that Diamond Select has ever done, Minimate-wise, has been the Iron Man armors and the Hulk bodies. I think both of those work really well with the Minimates. And this is pretty much both. It has that nice bulk of the armor, but it's all over the figure. Every part of this figure is big and bulky and tough looking, and that is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. He has the huge blue RT on this one. All the other arc reactors were white in this line, but this one is a nice, brilliant blue with some sculpting detail in there. He has great armor levels. He has the huge shoulder pads, the big bulky head with almost the wiry looking stuff coming out of it. Just really big and clunky looking. The upper arms have extra sculpting on, beefing them up. The gauntlets have huge pieces on them. They're big and just cool looking. The upper legs have extra sculpt and big chunky Iron Man boots. Even on the back here you can see a lot of great detailing. Around the waist, he has this extra piece. A lot of them have the extra piece where it kind of fleshes out the way the pants would look and everything like that. But this piece is actually larger than normal and really continues on that big bulky sculpt. I almost feel that with this level of detail, they probably could have put out an Igor that looked halfway decent. The only downside is Igor is permanently hunched over, so that might have been a little bit of a problem. But I think they could have overcome it with some of this great detailing. And I almost wish that there was a way that we'd get a second series of Iron Man 3 Minimates, because I would love to get some of these other armors if they put this level in. After being so disappointed at the Silver Centurion and the Skeleton armor, the Heartbreaker redeems both of those because it is badass. And of course, the helmet comes off. We have yet another Tony Stark head. This is yet another unique Tony Stark head. It's not quite as growling as the Silver Centurion, but not as passive as the 42 version. Of course, he comes with his hair. You can stick the hair on there. Just really awesome. For articulation, he has a ball-jointed neck, which actually has a good range of motion with this thick armor, which is pretty impressive. Same with the shoulders. Good range of motion on those shoulders. I would not have expected that. Forward and back's a little hindered. Can bend at the elbow, as I've mentioned before, very tight on the elbow. Rotate at the wrist. Rotate at the waist. Ball-jointed legs forward back out to the side. Bend at the knee. And because this is the big bulky Iron Man armor, no articulation at the ankles, though the Tony Stark suit-up armor does have it when you have his normal shoes in. So that figure, his articulation kind of changes depending on how you have him displayed. Overall, this is a fantastic 2-pack. While I really thought you could skip the other Toys R Us exclusive pack, this one I think is a must-have. My biggest disappointment with the whole set is the coloration on that 42 armor, which, as I said, if you have the comic version, you can kind of rectify, you could replace. But just alone, the Heartbreaker armor is so amazing, so fantastic, so well executed that I think that's good enough on its own. You could buy this pack just on the strength of that figure, and the Tony Stark is a decent little add-on bonus. Definitely going to give this pack a high recommend. Really, really well done. And that, at least for now, brings me to a close on the Diamond Select Minimate Iron Man 3 figures. I've reviewed everything that is available theoretically at Toys R Us. As I said, the Mark 42 I reviewed is apparently a comic book shop exclusive coloration, and I would definitely recommend getting that exclusive coloration because I do not like this mustardy color they went with on the Toys R Us 42. There are two other comic shop exclusive armor sets. There's the War Machine with Maya Hansen, and there is the Cowboy disguised Tony Stark with Aldrich Killian. Now, I think I might wait to see some reviews on those before trying to track them down. The War Machine has me intrigued because I love the Iron Patriot. It's just a repaint of that armor. But after reading the prequel comics, I think I kind of want the War Machine a little bit more than I did because he's not in the movie, but it is kind of a cool armor. The Cowboy Tony Stark and the Killian figures, if there's some cool hidden stuff in the package that I didn't see at first look, they may be worth picking up to me. But from what I've seen just in the promotional pictures, there hasn't been anything to really drive me to get him yet. So those are kind of a wait and see on my list. But I'd say 3 out of 4 packs being solid, strong recommends from this makes this a pretty decent wave, and it's better than we've gotten from Hasbro, as my broken record self has been want to say lately. So definitely go out, hunt these figures down. Probably some of the best Iron Man 3 collectibles you can get your hands on without resorting to Hot Toys. And for more Iron Man 3 action, please head over to the Facebook page. There'll be a link in the bottom bar. I've done an exclusive review of the Iron Man Suits of Armor children's book over on the Facebook page. So please go like the page and check out the video section and watch that review there. I actually was not aware that Facebook won't let me see how many views a video's had, so I have no clue if anybody's even watched that review. But if you're as obsessed with these different armor types as I am, definitely worth checking out to get a closer look at some of these suits from the movie. And until next time, this has been another Outside the Box review, where I can almost get to the end of the review, but then I say the wrong cranberry.